Welcome back to Slide 2. So time for the next mission, and I honestly forgot why I edited the parts of this way, since I should have started with a recap, but whatever. The point is that we need to start by defeating the supposedly combat robot, even though it's clearly a water tower.
No, it's totally a robot.
Oh, actually, no. First, we're gonna actually have to check in the security guard's codes. Okay.
No problem. Then use it on the security station to set off the alarm. Hold up.
You know, I will agree with you two in some regard that because of how, heists had to be fully planned out or orchestrated in these games, that one could argue that Slide 2 did have some of the most unique, from each case, missions.
Well, that's the thing, Joe. That's also the thing, Joe. They spice up the formula with each episode. There's no episode that feels like the same, or ambient and actual execution. The first couple of episodes were to soften the deal, but starting with the third, you already basically the game tells you that everything is unpredictable. A plan may potentially fail spectacularly if you don't know, if the gang doesn't know what they do, or there's something that they didn't count it in the meantime. So again, it gives another layer to the story, which helps not to have the episodes being stale.
Well, that's not to say that later games wouldn't also be able to have unique and flowing levels here.
If anything, the other two Slide games will also keep this tradition in mind by having no two episodes that feel like each other. Anyway, there you go. What you're supposed to do is to wait until the guard comes back, and take a nice photo of the code. That is, there we go. Come on, just tab it in. There we go.
Go.
It's a good thing that we're displaying that convenient giant font.
I guess because nobody ever escapes this prison.
Sure. Everyone thinks their next their building is the next Alcatraz.
Actually, that's a thing. Sometimes people literally made their things as secure as possible to challenge thieves here and there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a sentiment that's also used for fiction. One of the favorite jokes that the community of Warhammer 40k has is to have one particular faction, which is called the Iron Wars, to create fortresses with the specific intent of daring people to actually expunge them. But that's a story for another time. Now, to go back briefly to what you were saying before, Jova, yes, again, the next couple of games will also keep track of spicing up, never making things stale, which again is pretty cool for the fact that you don't make the game too much formulaic. And it's neatly balanced to give a bone to the player when they need to, like say not making everything unnecessarily super depressing when he needs to, but to keep the stakes high at the same time.
But of course. And then the ending of the fourth game happened.
Well, Jova, that's a topic for later, and arguably already the ending of the third game also started that.
Well,
sorry, Jova. Once again, topic for another time.
Yes, it is.
All right. The cool thing about this is that this particular mission is that the placement where you need to be to snap the photo is always not as immediate as you may think. So the event itself consists in a mini obstacle course, which includes the platforming element to it. So which is pretty cool. So again, despite the fact that they still focus more on stealth and everything, they still keep the idea of having platforming, as also part of their focus. There we go. Now, how to distract actually that guard? Now, if I recall correctly, I will use there you go. Yes, one of the gadgets I can use a clock, an alarm clock, which basically alerts the presence of the other guards nearby, which is actually cool. It's a traditional tool that's used in a lot of stealth games, the distraction thing. It's even also like to do the decoy that was in the first game, but also stuff like MGS5 had. Come on, come back.
Stop, don't come back.
Basically, yeah.
Wait, where are you going? The alarm is ticking, don't you hearing? Any minute now.
Is the guy in charge of security the same one who's in charge of security in Blade Trinity?
I guess.
Wait, hold on. But Blibs, that was a girl. A blind woman in particular.
Coming soon, Sly 5, Trinity.
With Ryan
With guest writer David Goyer. Ugh.
Oh no, please.
And yes, Roy, I'm not kidding. In Blade Trinity, literally the one in charge of security is a blind woman. So you probably think, oh, she has super senses, right?
No.
Nope.
Not just that, Pedro. Remember, David Goyer is the guy who advocated against including Martian Manhunter in the DCEU, so I get the idea that if he wants to tackle a series like this, he will remove anything.
Clearly we should get this guy to write our Terminator revival movie.
Absolutely.
That's the thing about David Goyer. He was a great writer with the comics. I have no idea what happened with him movie-wise.
Bitterness, I wonder. But anyway, next mission, you had to actually stalk the Contessa, get rid of her guards one by one, and then steal stuff from her own pockets. So as you can imagine, you have to plan very carefully this, because the moment you get spotted, it's game over.
And like I said, she's a spider, so she can go a lot of places. Which
to be fair, no, they actually make it more simple, quote unquote, here. But the thing is that the guards still stick around. So if you don't use your alarm clock, it's gonna be a bit hard to separate them. Dun, 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 dun. There we go.
Sleep.
Forever. But no, like it's the thing. The thing is that I get the idea that Mr. Goyer just became bitter with years passing by and had just his own vision in mind, Jova. That's pretty much it.
What do you think he got bitter about?
I don't know. I honestly don't really want to know. Like, I honestly don't even care at this point. I did ask what is he currently doing in our Terminator Dark Fate commentary, but honestly, at this point, I don't think he's doing anything particularly major.
I gotta say, though, Terminator Dark Fate, though, to have that on your resume these days is... not good. Whether you're the producer, actor, or the writer, especially
or the director.
Yeah, from the director of Deadpool.
I still don't know, that's the thing, Jova. How do you even go about presenting yourself for a movie-related job with this resume? Oh, so what did you work on? Well, I worked in Terminator Dark Fate, Batman v Superman, and Blade Trinity.
Next.
If somebody's really a death seeker in the industry, they'll probably hire you.
Like, see,
considering how Blade Trinity killed Blade, Batman v Superman didn't kill the franchise, but it did pretty much force them to have to twiddle things around.
Again, how the hell that guy survived BVS, I will never understand. You'd think that would have been the one that would David Goyer.
Chris Terrio?
David Goyer. Well, Chris Terrio now killed himself because of Rise of Skywalker, clearly. But...
Okay. When it comes to Batman v Superman, that movie still made enough money that I can see why they didn't necessarily, end his career. Like, it was a reception that was really bad, though. Like, a career killer is often something that has both bad reception and a bad box office.
So, Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah, okay. Now that one is definitely good for a career killer. Now, granted, sometimes if a movie is a box office failure, that may also be more likely to make it a career killer, though not as much. Because, the thing that studios care first and foremost about is how well a movie did. That's not to say that, they're all just soulless hacks who will only care about the money. But,
it's just
money is important.
I wouldn't call David Goyer a soulless hack. He's just a plain old hack. Like he can't write periods anymore. At least.
Again, simply put, just a bad writer. So that's also a problem that it's only left potential to interpretation depending on how things turn out. Sometimes some people do bad writing out of malice. Other times just because they are bad writers on their own.
Like David Cage.
Again, that's the sad thing about David Goyer, though. Like, I've read a lot of his comics, and they're pretty good. He did a very good take on Superman as well. And, you know, even with movies, he wasn't doing all bad at that time. He did do a few good superhero movies back in the day. It's just that the trouble began with, was it Green Lantern where the trouble started?
Sure.
Honestly, I'm not sure if
I don't think he was involved. I don't know. He wasn't involved in Green.
Not to mention, I don't think the writing was yes, the writing probably was the worst of the problems of that movie, but not because it was unbearable, but just because it was not focused.
Now, for the record, audience, yes, we understand that he was only one of three writers, and technically James Cameron was the one creatively in control of Dark Fate as the producer and story writer. But the fact that David Goyer was there probably didn't help either.
Also, his fingerprints are a bit there in the movie, I argue.
Not only that, but look. Unless you're like, one of the actors who probably didn't get that much say in how the movie was going to go, a lot of blame is to be shared. From Tim Miller, who constantly insisted that, we're scared of women beating us up, and that totally excuses whatever flaws there are with his characters, even though they're just not well-written characters, to James Cameron pretty much okaying that.
Now it's actually time to deal with the giant attack robot, whatever.
Awful lot like a water tower.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled. That's what she wants you to think.
Bentley, please.
Bentley, I think you're still a little touched in the head from your week rendezvous.
Your eyebrows are getting in the way.
Of course, I do owe you one.
True. So let's try to trust him for now.
All right.
Yeah.
By turning the wheels on the rod, you should be able to redirect the electrical current away from its...
Basically, get on the spire and turn the handle before lightning strikes, otherwise you're fried.
Because if there's one thing we've seen from plenty of movies, ladies and gentlemen, it's that
Transylvania's
great for getting lightning to bring life to creations.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, that depends on your point of view, Dweebs. Yeah. Go on, Java.
What was I talking about?
Still about Mr. Goyer.
Yeah, okay. Terminator Dark Fate is just like everyone on like the creative team of that movie has issues here. Tim Miller, okay, look, I acknowledge he did do good with Deadpool, but man, am I kind of glad that he wasn't calling the shots completely with the Sonic movie, seeing as how, like with Terminator Dark Fate, he was of course acting pissy towards fans who had any issues with the design.
Not just that, it was him who came up with the idea of the realistic design. So
not just that, Java. It's like we mentioned in the Dark Fate commentary. It's pretty much obvious at this point that Ryan Reynolds did carry most of the first Deadpool movie on his own back. So there's that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then okay,
that actually brings up a different thing with the Dark Fate, Jova. It's just like James Cameron. The old David Goyer doesn't exist anymore. That you're talking about, Jova, he doesn't exist anymore.
He's been replaced. The reptilians are real. They're replacing everyone in Hollywood.
that would explain a lot.
Much like the James Cameron who wrote Terminator 2 doesn't exist anymore.
So basically, what you're saying is that Capcom was trying to warn us all this time with Dark Void.
Basically.
I guess. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess so.
That is what you were talking about when you said the reptilians replaced him, right?
True. Alright, last rod to do.
Okay, hey, what would be your reaction if we actually did eventually get a sequel to Dark Void, considering how
I forgot if I actually said in the commentary, John, about why I don't think Will as a typical Capcom protagonist. I really wouldn't mind seeing him in a crossover because I think there is potential. Oh, look at that! It actually was a giant robot. Huh.
I told you so.
Well, good to know at least. Anyway, time for the operation, if I recall correctly. Actually, no, that's the next batch still.
Thanks to your recent efforts, we are ready to attempt a Murray rescue.
All right.
I call this plan
the Trojan tank.
Operation Trojan Tank.
We use the Contessa's keys to steal one of her tanks. I'll jump in and drive while you keep out of sight by crawling underneath. With some luck, the guards won't notice anything out of the ordinary and open the prison gates for us. We casually roll in and then blast the security door.
Brilliant.
Cell block. Once inside, you'll need to improvise your way up to the guard control center and open the doors leading down to solitary confinement. Let's hope Murray hasn't cracked under the Contessa's hypnosis.
Not just meant to mention, remember, he has been fed also the spice, which means he might be actually not being in full control of himself.
Oh, on your Dark Fate discussion,
Yes.
of all the flaws you mentioned about it, it's not even the worst film I saw that came out in 2019.
What was?
Gemini Man.
Okay, let me put it this way. Gemini Man, while a bad movie, I will argue is more entertaining than Dark Fate could ever hope to be.
Also, it's an
Not only
original
that-
property. It's not, cheating on a pre-existing franchise.
I don't think originality versus franchise should be a qualifying factor into whether it's a worse movie or not.
Okay.
Regardless,
No,
I'll still say Gemini Man, just based on the fact that it's Will Smith in the main role alone. I mean, say what you want about Gemini Man, it has a charismatic lead actor. Dark Fate can't even claim that.
Yeah.
Alright, now you have to use light to just sneak in under the tank. Basically, it's actually another common thing in some open war game where you actually have to sneak up instead under. Or yeah, it's also kind of similar to a couple of Metal Gear Solid missions. Actually, to sneak up under a vehicle potentially, but yeah. So good thing that Sly is not getting crushed by the rolling parts of the tank, but
Yeah.
it's large enough.
I can't say Cats because I haven't seen that film.
But we know that's garbage.
Okay. Dwibs. It's actually a challenge to think of things worse than Cats, so no, Gemini Man is not worse than Cats.
That too, yeah.
That's though, honestly, okay, comparing Gemini Man to Terminator Dark Fate, let's be honest, Gemini Man was easier to follow, even if it, and don't get me wrong, Gemini Man did get confusing, but Terminator Dark Fate not only breaks the rules of possibility, but it breaks its own rules of time travel in so many ways that it is almost impossible to follow how any of that is happening. Also, Dwibs, Terminator Dark Fate easily has the dumber villain. Why? Because the Terminator could have easily have finished them off if he had just let them drown.
Yeah.
He literally has them drowning in a car, but of course they get out because he smashes through it. Like, how it should have ended literally pointed out that the Terminator just shook his head no and watched them die. Boom, movie over.
I don't know. I mean, me personally, I wasn't really expecting a whole lot with Dark Fate, and I guess I wasn't too disappointed with how it turned out because it kind of met my low expectations. It's a movie. Whereas Gemini Man, they had years and years to figure out a good story, and that was the best they could come up with. Let's go to Hungary. What's there? Hungarians.
Oh, look, honestly, I think the baffling script is part of what makes Gemini Man more entertaining, honestly.
It's like the action equivalent of the Book of Henry.
Okay. I haven't seen Book of Henry, so Pedro, your take?
Book of Henry. Well, it's about they're very different genres, so it's kind of hard to compare them one to one. But
there is one. I did say the action equivalent, but the main thing is the script was written years ago, and you'd think they'd have updated and polished the script in 20 years.
Don't you see, Dubs? That script was just fine.
Again, there's a reason these scripts are put in the black box. Okay, granted, sometimes it's just because that the effects wouldn't work at that time, and the effects for Gemini Man are pretty damn good, honestly. Especially the DA.
That being said, Dubs, now it's my turn to turn kind of your logic against you. I, like you yourself say for originality, I don't consider expectations to be a fair assessment of a movie's quality. A movie is either good or bad, regardless of what expectations you had going in. Like we should just judge the movies completely on their own merits, regardless of context and expectations.
Like when I judged the Sonic movie, I say it did exceed my expectations. I don't count exceeding my expectations as part of what makes that movie legit good here and there. Like,
sure,
okay. And considering how low my expectations were anyway, that wouldn't really have done much. Like, okay, I'll say this. Expectations can factor into one's own disappointment with a movie, but it doesn't genuinely mess with how good the movie actually is, per se.
Here's a more good way to look at it. Gemini Man, for as flawed as it is, like I said, has better acting from a much more charismatic lead actor. There's more
more charismatic character than Grace in that movie. Ugh.
There's also more creativity in the plot. Despite being badly executed, there's that at least. Dark Fate is not only badly executed, it's just once again rehashing the same formula we've been having since the fucking early 90s.
Fuck! Now I have to go back up.
Knockback.
Is that Pedro, is that a
exactly.
Dark Fate in your eyes then?
Yes, pretty much.
You move forward, but you get knocked backwards.
That's and my reaction, and that Cartman clip also perfectly sums up my reaction to Dark Fate as well. Actually, yeah, exactly.
Like, okay. Not only that. Okay, look, with Gemini Man, we actually did have a somewhat interesting protagonist, an assassin, who had to face off against a younger version of himself. In Terminator Dark Fate, it's so one-sided. Grace sucks.
It's basically James Cameron turning to us. Hey guys, it's the same shtick all over again. Seriously.
Worse, because Grace sucks as a protagonist. She constantly runs out of power, and it's other characters that have to finish fights for
like
her.
I mentioned, she's a shonen protagonist for no real reason.
Like, again, let me put it like this. Linda...
Oh, jeez, Murray doesn't really look nice enough. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, man.
He's all twitchy and bug-eyed. You said Murray was being forced to eat spice, right?
Yeah, he said he was feeling weird.
You're lucky you're just standing half an inch away from that thing on the floor.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to
Yep.
Sure would be a shame if it accidentally grazed you in the foot.
Those hypno boxes are designed to heighten the effects of spice. And he's already in an agitated state.
So yeah, let's boost it up and make our friend go into a murderous rage. Bentley, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Modern problems call for modern solutions, Tio.
I guess so.
I'm not sure that applies here. But does anyone have any other suggestions?
Look, I can't believe Bentley is doing this with the idea of having actually a good intention, but if you think about it, that's kind of fucked up.
I guess the idea is like, well, it's the only way.
Yeah, no, that's clearly what also we're going for. It's just that, damn, again, this game that was like rated PEGI-3 originally does not pull any punches.
That's the thing, Tio. Normally, whenever you disguise something with cartoonish friendly characters and terms, you can put incredibly deep and adult stuff in it and completely get away with it, so long as you dress it up properly.
Yeah, but remember, Teo, come on, Teo, like you, basically, never mind, sorry. Remember, Teo, that scene in Yokai Watch where Nate basically, how should I put it,
Is that which multiple examples?
Let me put it, he squirts his load all over Haley, and except it's a Coca-Cola. It's just but like, if you know what you're doing, you can clearly do something that's incredibly innuendo-like, and yet, and people can just go, I don't know, it's just a Coca-Cola. I don't know what you're thinking.
And then you have weird cases like the Ruby Bridges Disney Channel movie.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Basically, Tio, there's in fact a Disney Channel movie based off of Ruby Bridges.
What is Ruby Bridges?
She's one of the first African-American girls who ever got integrated into a school with white children.
Oh, okay.
civil rights stuff. And believe it or not, they don't pull any punches. And this is a Disney Channel movie. Doug even actually did a Disney December review of it. And yeah, they pretty much have everything, even the N-word included in it, to show how messed up stuff was.
Is that the... Is that movie that they made about that little African girl who was sent to an all-white school or something?
Yes.
Okay.
When did that film come out?
I think the 90s or early 2000s.
What happened to the camera?
Yep.
That actually is surprising that they would even allow them to use that word in Disney Channel movie.
I mean, but they did it, and goddamn, it holds up. Let's see. Happy Branches moving Disney. Oh yeah, it was released in 1998.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Because remember, Jova, this was still during the Michael Eisner era, and this is the guy who managed to somehow get Hunchback of Notre Dame to be rated G. So
that movie was rated G.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
What kind of fire did he use to do that?
Okay. Here's what you do. Just push forward a little bit of a front payment, and they'll put down any rating you ask for.
Just a couple more green. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Disney did that all the time, actually, to make their movies rated G so that more people could come and see them.
Of course, it's always about
since there's not much happening at the minute,
I'll actually give it a second, Ibs, because again, we're also closer to Free Murray, but this next line that he's about to mention, since he's being under the effect of the Hypnoray, might interest you in Shiroi.
Oh boy.
If I recall correctly, it's this one, the second one.
Here we go.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Me over and I'll smash up everything.
I don't remember that going that way.
No, it doesn't go like that.
you might need to work a bit on the lyrics, mate.
Go on, Ibs.
Since you mentioned Hunchback, have I told you guys? Sorry about that. Have I told you guys about the time where together with Pedro, I watched Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 and Chicken Little back to back?
Yes, you did.
Oh, wow. That's
basically it was
double.
I found Chicken Little to be the worst movie of the two.
It's
I can believe that.
It's first of all, it's longer and it's more annoying.
Okay, look. Twibs. I see what you mean, though. Okay, look. Whereas Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 is one of the worst Disney sequels ever, Chicken Little is its own fresh brand of insanity, and it's one of the worst Disney movies ever.
It's trying to be a DreamWorks film, but it doesn't work.
Let me put it like this. People see Home on the Range as the main reason that the industry in America as a whole lost faith in 2D animation, which is sadly kind of the case. It's not the reason that Disney lost faith in 2D animation. It didn't help, mind you, but when it came to, America as a whole, it did unfortunately contribute to that because...
You can't really peg the fall to just one movie. Like, it was a combination of multiple hand-drawn animated films failing at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff like Atlantis and Treasure Planet and so on.
Oh, and Treasure Planet is such a sad...
It's also similar to how the Dark Age of Animation arrived. It wasn't because of just one movie. It was a combination of things.
I won't... Treasure Planet's its own kind of worms, in my opinion, but I won't go too much into that.
We'll get to it when we get to it. Well, okay, you can't deny, though, Glibs, it does have a huge fan base, and Treasure Planet really kind of just...
it has a fan base, I'm just not one of them.
Oh, sure. But anyway, though, Treasure Planet is definitely a case that I would argue failed more so due to, well, Disney misplacing it and...
Let's put it alongside... Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, buddy, I was one of the many who chose to watch the brand new and exciting Harry Potter movie instead.
Even without that, Glibs, I think on a parental level, Chris Columbus had a reputation. People had more familiar with him.
Anyway, back to...
Plus live-action directors seem to be more well-known than...
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, back to...
breaks. Mary, are you okay?
No.
Damn it. Oh, that was easy. All right.
Oh, he's out now.
Now you have to lure Murray into actually breaking the Hypno Ray with a standard bullfight type of fight. Basically, you don't have to actually hit him, you just have to lure him to near the location and destroy the 4 Hypno lamps. And after that, you should be good to go.
Ted, watch out, he hits like a truck and can be deceptively fast.
Pretty much.
Anyway, back to what I was saying, though. Yeah, okay. Home on the Range may be seen as what supposedly killed 2D animation, even though that's not the case. For as bad as Home on the... Hooray! Hooray!
My head. Who? What? Is this heaven?
Sorry, pal. You're no angel.
Just take a few deep breaths and try to center your thoughts.
Oh yeah, that's enough to cure for a drug addiction.
I mean, even.
Hello there.
Sorry, it's just still this cutscene.
And he's got friends. Perhaps it's time to reevaluate some life choices.
No shit.
I'm serious. I managed to keep this half of the clockwork.
Oh, cool. He still kept it after... where do you put it, Murray? On second thought, I won't want to know.
Very deep interdimensional pockets.
Oh my god.
See why I said don't ask?
It's the pocket watch from Pulp Fiction, Jesus Christ.
That was the thing with Disney animation in general. I mean, Chicken Little sucked. Meet the Robinsons, in spite of the huge effort to try and fix most of the movie, there were still bits left in there that kind of that were still reminiscent of what Michael Eisner was trying to do with Chicken Little.
There's a reason why DreamWorks were the guys seen more on top of the animation game at the time.
Anyway,
I haven't heard good things about The Wild either.
Oh, The Wild! That's
sadly, this episode doesn't have a boss fight. You just have to chase the Contessa a bit in a very scripted sequence, and then it's over. Weird.
Yeah, that is kind of a missed opportunity because with the Contessa,
we'll still have to fight her in the next episode. Sure, it's just that we could have had something other than this.
I guess.
I mean, episode 2 did not have a boss fight either, but it still had the escort mission with Murray and the Regiment game have something. I'm keen on that idea in order to spice things up. Yay!
Basically, yeah.
Also another thing, yeah, the Contessa is that kind of trope that I'm not super happy with, but to be fair, it was done in a time where it was very popular, so I can see why they did that. The idea of that psychologists are in reality mean people that will try to exploit their patients, which...
Sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, sorry.
In the meantime, see right here, I'm checking IMDb page, yeah, right here. It says, in the United States it was rated G, in the United Kingdom it was rated U. What does that mean? I'm guessing...
That's G. That's basically
okay.
G.
Universal, of course.
In my country it was rated M6, as in, you need to be at least 6 to watch it. Russia 6+, Singapore G, Sweden 7, I'm assuming that stands for H. Australia G, Brazil was Livre, as in Livre basically means everybody can watch it. So yeah, Michael Eisner pulled the strings to make sure in all over the world this is rated as appropriate for all ages, even 3-year-olds.
Alright, so the Contessa got away, but the good news is that the gang is back together because, they managed to save them from being brainwashed. So there is that. There is a victory.
So, yeah, we'll just leave Carmelita in jail, I guess.
No, don't worry, we'll find her next episode.
I know. It's just my first time playing this. I thought, so I guess we're leaving Carmelita in there.
Please don't zoom in on that face again.
But despite all the jokes, I think
we were tortured mentally in there.
Away we go.
isolation gave us all pause for thought. Needless to say, we took a few weeks off.
Yeah, basically we needed some cooldown, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Yay!
Yeah.
So
To go through a lot of mental torture, but they've come out better friends than before.
Basically.
And that's the end of. And that's the end
again,
of slide 2.
Fury, the real Cooper gang was the friends we made.
Exactly. Just two minor corrections real quickly, because I actually misread this. Australia had 2 ratings. They had a cut version that was rated G, but the full version is rated PG. So Australia did give it a PG.
Well,
Canada.
One curiosity while we're at it, Pedro, what was rated in my country?
It doesn't seem to say.
Are you checking on IMDb?
Here, Italy, T. What does T?
Right, so it's almost close to everyone. Basically, the only major restriction that we have is that sometimes our movies cannot be watched by people of 9 or 14 years old.
Japan says B. I don't know what that means.
I'm guessing that's probably their equivalent to G.
So yeah, it's the same. But here's the interesting thing: Canada rated it PG, but on Quebec, it's rated G. Only in Quebec.
Oh.
Which is interesting.
Sure.
Canadian to watch this movie.
Allow me to remind everybody that there's a scene in this movie where Frollo sniffs Esmeralda's hair. She has a pole dance. There's an entire song about how this old man is lusting to have sex with this woman. Yeah, clearly rated G for everybody.
There's also a scene where he burns her because she refused. It's like, you know.
A movie for all the family. Go ahead,
Tuning next time for when the gang will pursue the search for the Contessa, still in. Thinking we're gonna go to Prague instead, so we will also be able to find Carmelita. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.